All right. So I mentioned this already in values, but it's worth mentioning again because of how much it can affect your emotional well-being and stability. So adopting these agreements from Don Miguel Ruiz helps us to increase our overall sense of happiness, peace, and well-being, regardless of our external circumstances. So the first thing is to be impeccable, which is without sin, with your word. We want to speak with integrity. We want to speak as carefully and meticulously as we can before saying them out loud, before saying things out loud, because we want to not betray our own best interests. And I know this is difficult and takes a lot of practice, and I'm by no means perfect, but we want to be careful with what we say and how we communicate. The second one, and this is a big one, is don't take things personally, or try not to take things personally. Realize that the actions and beliefs of other people are projections of their own reality. And so their opinions don't affect your self image. You can take what they say into account, but don't take it personally, like a personal insult or a personal attack on anything. It's not really against you, it's just a projection, it's their perspective. And this also actually, I realize, applies to things that happen. So, again, and maybe I'll use a different example. It's a funny story about the Wi Fi shutting off. But if the Wi Fi shut off, just don't take it personally. It is what it is. There's a silver lining there. Don't take it as a personal attack against you, which is what we often do, which is what makes us feel angry and whatever. Next is don't make assumptions. So, and this relates to being impeccable with your word, but just try to communicate, over communicate. A lot of the misunderstandings and drama and conflict interpersonally occurs when we're creating stories and making assumptions. And then fourth is always do your best. So if you're always doing your best, that's the only metric upon which you can judge what you do. So it helps to avoid self-judgment or ridicule or sorrow or regret because you're just doing your best. And as long as you know you're doing your best, that's all that matters, regardless of what your external circumstance may be. And it also includes trying to follow and uphold these rules or these agreements. You're not going to be perfect. I'm not perfect. Nobody is. But so be gentle with yourself and just keep trying to do your best. And lastly, and this relates to not taking things personally, is learning to listen but being skeptical. Realize that people are sharing their approximation of the truth, including what I'm saying right now. We also have different definitions of words, and people have different interpretations of different words and whatnot. So we can understand others and have less judgment to hear their stories and hear their representations of the truth, but not treat it as the end all be all, and to not take it personally and to learn from them, but recognize that they're just sharing their truth. And so it's important that we filter that and see if it applies to us. So that's it for these. These are huge, very helpful in mitigating or elevating our general sense of emotional well-being. And I hope this video records, because the last one might not have. And it was a good one.